Thank you. So this is a special presentation for Chen and John because I know that they just visited Puerto Rico not too long ago, and John just wants some more rice and beans. So the recording is going to be so you guys can make it at home. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to make some flan too. So I'm going to take some cream cheese out of the fridge and put some sugar on the stove to start caramelizing. So that's something that's like a bonus for you. I forgot to get a pot out. So with flan, you may know it's just like an egg custard. But the way that I like it is with cream cheese because it gives a little bit more of a cheesecake texture to it. And it's kind of like creme brulee. So it has the sugar on top, but with creme brulee, you bake the custard first and then pour the sugar on and then do the torch and make it crispy. With flan, you caramelize the sugar first and then put it on the bottom of the pan, then put the custard in and bake it. And then when it's cooled off for a few hours, then you turn it upside down and that's what makes the caramel on top. So with the sugar, you just do 1 cup of sugar on very low heats on the stove, and it takes a while. There's a lot of sugar in flan.
I have a feeling that your kids are going to be really happy today.
Yes, they are.
How many kids do you have, Millie?
I have 3, a 21, almost 18, almost 19, and almost 18-year-old.
Okay. So you're not at home trying to teach math.
Wow.
I really like June because then I can say that my daughter, well, no, July, because then I can say my daughter's 21 and my next one is 19 and the next one is 17. It's when it comes to August that everything gets messed up and everybody realizes again that my 2 boys are only 14 months apart. So I took the cream cheese out of the fridge. It's got to get soft, so I'm just going to leave it on the counter. So now for the white rice. Very, very simple. I have a huge bag of rice. This is just Giant brand, but you can use pretty much, a lot of my family likes jasmine rice, which is just as good. What did I do? Okay, I lost my cup. I've totally lost my train of thought. Okay. You can use Goya rice, jasmine rice, canilla, just regular store brand. I would not suggest using Walmart brand white rice though, because they have a lot of rocks and a lot of the times the rice is still in the hull. You know, so you have to really pick through the rice. So in my experience, the canilla rice is the best as far as not having rocks or hull in it. So a lot of times people or the back of the bag will say for every cup of rice, use 2 cups of water. I don't. It never works out for me that way. I use 1 to 1. So in this case, I'm going to use 5 cups of rice and 5 cups of water. So what I do is I have this special strainer. It's a rice strainer. So you see the hole is really small.
Yeah.
And then it's got slot here. So I put the rice in here and then I rinse it because if you don't rinse the rice, well, a lot of people don't like to rinse the rice because they say it gets all the vitamins and minerals or whatever out, but it also makes too much starch when you're cooking it, so it doesn't taste right. It tastes different. So I rinse it, and I read somewhere to rinse it 3 times because then it comes out like sticky rice, and I like that. And I always make like 5 or 6 cups of rice because with whatever leftovers, like the kids can have more the next day, which they love. Or if you wanted to, and I've done it a couple times, make some fried rice from it. You just mix up the white rice, the cold white rice, with some soy sauce or other kind of Asian sauce, and fried eggs, scrambled eggs and vegetables, and you got fried rice.
Okay. Yeah, I think my husband is very hungry right now.
Well, we're going to have to watch this for 3 hours until the flan's done, right?
So no, she cooks really
did you know
fast.
what, Millie?
Hmm?
This is the first time I see that you use the same amount of rice and water. Because we usually put the double, depends on the rice. Sometimes we need to put one extra water or something like that. But one by one is the first time I see that. I am very curious about the last.
Well, I think because the way I make it too, and as long as you have to keep the lid on the pot too, so that creates the steam, and that really helps it come out. It's like the perfect. It's not too hard, not too soft.
Okay. That's interesting.
So I'm just running the water in the sink. Let's see.
Millie, do you have a special heavy pot? Is the lid heavy? Is that why?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And so then what I do, and it's really important to have hot water when you make the rice. So I go ahead and I measure 5 cups in the same exact thing that I'm doing. The same exact measure that I use to measure the rice, I use to put into a measuring cup, and then I microwave it till it's boiling hot, because there's got to be some kind of chemistry, food science chemistry going on there. But if you just put regular warm or cold water, it does not come out right. It has to be hot boiling water.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm off camera.
Okay.
Oh. You should be my sous chef. You should come here and be my sous chef.
Don't forget your social distancing.
Yeah. Okay, so do this a little bit. Microwave. And I usually take, I have a really small microwave, so it takes about 6 to 8 minutes to get boiling hot, which is perfect timing for the next steps. So, like I said, I'm rinsing out the rice. Making a mess. And really also the other point of rinsing the rice is to make sure you're getting any holes out, any stones, and sometimes there are grains of rice that are black or brown, just not very pretty, so you can get that out. And I haven't pushed the glass in the microwave. I don't know. All right, so the rice is rinsed. Nick, you should come and help me. They're too busy playing Animal Crossing.
Millie, we heard a lot of ping pong sound. Is that popcorn?
What?
Is there popcorn in your microwave? We heard.
No, measuring cup. It's not sitting straight in the.
Oh, I see.
So in the Facebook thing, I put that you should have a caldero, which is one of these aluminum pots, and every Puerto Rican has one. And as a matter of fact, every Puerto Rican probably has 5, except for me. But my mom has this huge one. I mean, it takes up the whole stove. The rice never comes out for me when I try that big of a pot. So this, I don't know why this microwave is not sitting right. Sorry, technical difficulties. Oh, is it quite a thing? Of course, when I don't have an audience, it's fine. It's perfect.
That's always how it works with broadcasting.
Yep. All right, so
It never boils.
I'll bring this closer. Okay. So I heat up the burner till like, I have it on 8 right now. I never put it on high because then it gets too hot. And I just use some olive oil and I put in the instructions like 2 tablespoons. I usually just eyeball it and just pour it in. And
So I have a question, Millie. So I would like to know, maybe Kathy knows that because she's from, so her family is from Italy, but I really like the olive oil, but I hear that it is better if you use the olive oil just for salads, because because apparently this is the monosaccharide, you know, the type of oil. We have 2 types of oils, monosaccharides and polysaccharides. Maybe you can, and when you cook the olive oil, chemically this is transformed. And some benefits of that olive oil can be damaged. That's true or no? I don't know. It's just one question.
I don't know. I mean, I do tend to use the extra virgin olive oil only in salads and stuff like that.
Salads, yeah.
Right.
No cooking, because if you cook, this is what I have heard, that if you cook the olive oil, you change its components, and we can transform one good oil, like the olive oil, like in monosaccharide, in polysaccharide, and this is not good. But I'm not sure. It's just one question.
I don't know. I mean, I tend to use a canola oil if I'm cooking at a high heat because the olive oil will burn more readily. I mean, that's
see, and I started using olive oil because I thought I heard it was healthy and I had a higher heating point.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It's higher than butter, but not as high as a canola oil or a soybean oil. That's my understanding.
Yeah, me too. I understand the same. That is better.
Yeah,
I
I tend to use avocado oil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know anything. Is that a light oil or a heavy oil?
It's similar to olive oil, but it has a higher burning point.
Ah, okay. Okay.
I have a question for Anna and Christopher. It seems like both of you are also good cook. And so from what I heard, like Millie and Kathy both told me they don't use measurement. They usually just cook by feelings. I wonder if that's like what a good chef does. And so Anna, Christopher, do you two cook also just by feeling, or do you do a lot of measuring cup, or how do you usually cook?
I think that it depends on the recipe. Depends on the recipe, because sometimes you need the exact measurements And it depends on that. And also depends on the experience you have cooking that food. Sometimes we need to, this is, but I think that, for example, I drink coffee every morning. I love coffee, black coffee, but I need to measure the coffee. Otherwise, it will be too dark or too light, you know? So I try, and I drink every day coffee, but I need to measure. So it depends on the recipe and yeah.
That
See,
makes sense.
it's funny when I cook, typically if I'm making a dish for the first time, I'll follow the recipe exactly.
And then you change.
And then I'll decide after the first time making it, what I want to change about it.
Yeah, because you need to put your secret. You
You know how you like things and you want it to be your way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm showing the pot now on my phone. I heated up the oil so it was hot, and then I threw a couple of grains of rice to test how hot the oil was. The point is to get the rice coated with oil, kind of like a fried rice, so that way it retains its shape when you add the water. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just stirring, and you can see the oil.
How much oil did you put in there?
Huh?
How much oil did you use?
I used about 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
It's not a lot, but it's enough to fry it and to kind of like roast or toast the grains.
Okay. And did you put salt or onion, garlic, anything? Just fry? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I'll put the heat back up a little bit. I just keep stirring it till it kind of, the rice looks white, of course, but then when it starts to have like a translucent around the edges of the grains of rice, that's when I know it's ready for the water.
Okay.
So that takes about, 5 minutes.
So I want to also ask Addie and Dr. Shingbo, do you two cook, or when you cook, do you use any measurement?
This is Eddie. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I honestly don't cook that much at all. Basically, the extent of my culinary skills is I can make pasta on the stovetop, and that's about it.
No, that's important.
Well, I don't cook. I have white rice cookers, and put in the rice cooker, make rice. I eat vegetables, maybe, the grilled meat, and so simple is possible for that meals.
That sounds like a good way to go, especially with your busy schedule.
Yeah.
What kind of rice cooker do you use?
Rice cooker? Hold on a second.
Let's see if his rice cooker is even bigger than Millie's rice cooker.
Like this, and
Okay.
it's old. I mean, I have been using for a while, but you can buy nowadays Walmart much better version of this, and fairly cheap. So that's usually use that. But
Okay, I turned the video on again. The rice is not as translucent as I usually like it, but you can see that it's glossy. That means it's covered in the oil. So that's good. I'm gonna add salt now. And I never measure it. My mom taught me just to do a light layer over the top, going across. So you can see the light layer of salt. And I don't use, I use a rice cooker sometimes, but I don't use salt when I'm doing the rice cooker. So that's that. And then I stir it up again.
But the color is white. It's not brown. So you were frying, but the color is white, yeah.
Well, some of the bottom grains now are coming up brown.
Okay.
Yeah. But usually no. Okay, ready for the water. This is fun. Water. I'm gonna turn my phone on again.
It's interesting you mentioned that Walmart rice has a lot of stones and you have to filter them out, because I haven't had rice for many years, but when I was little, my grandma used to ask me to get a stone out of the rice. So it's like, oh, that's what I usually do when I was a kid.
So you can see that it was really, really hot and it's already bubbling. So I'm gonna let that bubble up and dry out. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. But this will dry up. In the meantime, I'm gonna start some beans in that one. The beans are so simple. All you do is just throw everything together.
So you don't cover that pot of rice at all?
No.
Interesting.
I think that you cover the pound when there is no water.
Yes.
When there is one specific kind to cover the rice.
Yeah.
Christopher, just in case.
So
Okay.
I know my grandmother and my mother always use bagged beans. Bagged beans take a lot of time because you have to soak them overnight. And then sometimes they're still hard, so then you have to boil them in the morning. So of course I just use the canned beans.
Okay.
And nothing wrong with that. So again, and I talked about the sofrito in the Facebook post. So
Sofrito?
Can you show it to us? Because there's like 17 kinds.
yeah, sure.
Thanks. And do you drain the beans, Millie?
No.
I kind of like the way Millie cooks, because if it were my mom, she would just make it more complicated. She would like soak the beans overnight and tell me all 18 extra steps that I need to take.
But you know, okay.
Container like this, but it really to get it says RECAO, recao.
Sofrito.
It's green. Sofrito is red because it has tomato in it. But what I do is I buy it and then I put it in an ice cube tray because I don't use it fast enough, especially with, the kids are here now, but they weren't here. And with them gone, I don't cook as much. So then it lasts longer and I can just, twist it and pop it out. So I do that. I put the heat on, 8 again. This is heating really fast. Olive oil again, just about a tablespoon, not much. And I put 2 or 3 cubes of sofrito. So that's it. I want to show you the rice though. See, it's really drying up.
I'm sorry, I missed the second step after the olive oil. Did you put the sofrito in?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to heat up, and it's going to, the sofrito is going to melt. And I also have a can of tomato sauce, adobo, oregano,
Okay.
and you may have heard the legendary sazon.
Okay.
And traditionally, like my grandmother or my mom would put, like cut up cubes of ham or salt pork and put it in with the sofrito and the oil. But I have a vegetarian in the house, so I use the bouillon instead.
Okay.
We say that there's no meat in here. Just
Okay.
flavor.
Okay.
So already the sofrito is starting to melt, the heat's coming off. And I just pour half the can of tomato sauce in there. And then open the cans of the beans. And pour that in. So the sofrito hasn't even completely melted, but it doesn't matter. And there's still beans in there, but I'm gonna add water. So I'll use the water to get the beans out of the bottom.
Okay. So Millie, I would like to know if you can make the sofrito.
Yes.
How type of ingredients do you put inside? Do you put more?
So sofrito is, like I said, it's something that's in pretty much everything that we cook. It has onion, garlic,
Okay.
Red bell pepper, green bell pepper,
Okay.
cilantro,
Oh.
and then culantro, which is recao.
Okay.
And it's mostly garlic and culantro, and then just a little bit of, like a bunch of cilantro, one bell pepper, one red bell pepper, and one onion.
Okay.
And just mix it up. I have a Ninja. So
Okay.
like the Ninja or whatever those things are that processes it into like a smoothie consistency.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's
Okay, I think the rice is ready. So usually just take a peek at the edges, and if there's no water, then I know it's ready to be turned. So just do turns like this. Oh, it looks so pretty.
Okay.
And make sure you get the middle turned over. So I just keep doing my spoon like this to turn over the rice. And then put the lid on it and turn it down to low, or one or low. And do not touch it for 20 minutes. Make sure it's got a good seal and don't touch it for 20 minutes. As much as you want to take a peek, don't. And even better is to leave it for 30 minutes. As long as it's on low, as long as it's not burning, it's fine to just stay on there with the lid on. So I'm going back to the beans. Again, I had the oil, the sofrito, I put the tomato sauce, and then I put the beans in. Now I got 2 packets of the sazon. Oh, and the sofrito, I told you all that already. sazon is just some more flavorings. Mostly it's achiote, which is the annatto. And it gives it a nice taste and color. So let me put the phone on. You can see the orange flavor, the orange color. And then I'm going to add the ham bouillon. I love the flavor of ham.
Yeah, that's good.
And just stir that up. There's the sesame. With pink beans, you're supposed to put plantain. You're supposed to cut up a banana into little cubes and put it in with the beans to create the starch and make the gravy really thick. I'm sorry, not plantain, pumpkin or potato. My mom uses potatoes and she dices it really fine and puts it in there to make the sauce thicker. I'm like, okay, you know what? We already have rice, we have beans. That's enough starch and carbs for me. I'm not going to put any extra. So I don't put the potatoes in.
Okay.
I do like the flavor of olives, so I usually put olives in there. But some of you know that I have two places, this place here and then an apartment on campus. And I left it on campus, so no olives today. But usually it's the olives and capers mixed in a jar. I love the capers. I love that flavor. And sometimes I know that my kids don't like the olives, so I'll just say, well, too bad. They have to pick out the olives. Or I'll just, pour the olive juice in and have it that way. But since I don't have the olives, what I'm going to do is take some vinegar.
Okay.
Get a little bit of that sour flavor. And I'm just pouring like a tablespoon in there.
Millie, do you chop the olives or you put them in whole?
I put them in whole.
About how many? I'm going to put some in mine. I'm just curious.
Just like a quarter cup.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, small handful.
Millie, I just want to let you know Rachel just joined
I
us.
saw. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Millie. Sorry I'm late, but this looks amazing.
That's okay.
Yeah, and I like how Kathy is following along. So we're gonna have a cooking competition at the end.
So I just put some water in there.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm stirring around the bottom of the bean can. And I only filled it maybe a third of the can with water and stirring it around to get the rest of the bean guts and the rest of the beans that were at the bottom out into the pot. And I'll do that with all the cans.
So for people who don't know, Millie always cook a lot and bring her delicious leftover to our events, and I really miss it.
Yeah, one of the last times at one of the last events, somebody was like, wait, how come you didn't make anything Puerto Rican this time?
Wait, does that mean we don't get samples?
Well,
It's starting to smell really good.
the great thing about beans is that you can make a really big batch and freeze it. They freeze really well.
Okay.
Oop, and I smell the sugar.
I love that Millie is using canned beans because I always use canned beans, but I'm always like, is that not the correct thing to do? Is that not authentic if I'm using canned beans in all of my dishes?
Well, the thing that I wanted to say too that I totally forgot to say until now is that Goya now has beans with a red label instead of a blue label, and it's prepared like this.
Oh.
It's already prepared. So you can just dump it out of the can, add a little bit of water, maybe a little bit more flavoring, how you like it, and it's done. And it tastes just like my grandmother's bagged beans. I really could use a red can, but they're more expensive.
Okay.
All right, so,
Millie, did you put the adobo in?
oh, that's what I just looked over at the oregano and the adobo. And so, like I said, the beans are the easiest because really all you're doing is just dumping everything into the pot.
Yeah. I only got this, which is the chipotle and adobo sauce.
Oh, this is what I was talking about. It's a powder.
So is mine too hot?
I don't know how it's going to taste. I don't think it'll taste. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
I've never used it. This is just like a seasoning blend, kind of like the sesame.
Okay.
So it's a yellow powder.
Okay.
Does it say on the side what's in there?
Salt, garlic, oregano, black pepper, and turmeric.
Okay. All right, I got those.
So I used half teaspoon of each.
Yeah, it looks like the adobo is kind of like a seasoned salt, and I actually use it myself.
Yeah, it is. Oh, there it is. And my son Gabe said that one day maybe he can create smell-o-vision because it smells so good in here. And my daughter, all of them, are looking at me like I'm crazy.
I'm sorry, I just missed something. What did you just put in?
I put the adobo and the oregano.
Okay. So any salt in this?
Salt, no, because the adobo, well, you might have to, but the adobo has enough salt.
Okay.
And that is it for that. So I have it on like medium heat right now. I usually leave it at like 7, 8. When it starts to boil, then I turn the heat down and let it just simmer for about 20 minutes. The beans are already cooked in the can, so it doesn't really take much. It's just a matter of the gravy, the juice, whatever comes together.
Okay.
And like I said, I smell the sugar. The sugar's back there and the caramelized. So now we just wait. We have half an hour, 20 minutes to chit chat.
So Millie, I am curious about the sugar. Where are you putting the sugar?
I don't put anything in the sugar. I just put it over low heat. I'm gonna bring it to the front actually.
Okay, that's the sugar. So you need.
Yeah. So it's just turning brown underneath.
Okay.
And turning into caramel. It's melting very slowly.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is I will add half a cup of water, but just in really small batches because otherwise it creates so much steam you could burn yourself.
Okay.
Some people just mix sugar and water together and let that boil.